Hi, thanks for taking the time to watch this video. My name is Jack. So this video is the third video in the series of how to run and set up Facebook ads. Specifically, this series is aimed at beginners, so people who are less familiar with Facebook advertising. And I'm talking about the technical setup and running campaigns and how to do that process from start to finish. So the last couple of videos have been about everything you're going to need to know before running Facebook advertising campaigns. And this is one step further than that. So now we're going to start looking at the actual setup, and we're going to look at the setting up specifically of the pixel. So the Facebook pixel, if you're not aware, is a piece of code, and it's a mechanism that essentially tracks the action that happens on your website. So when someone clicks on a Facebook ad, they get taken to your site. They might opt in to become a lead, or they might purchase a product or add a product to cart. And you want to be able to report that data back into Facebook for two main reasons. The first is so that you can see how well your Facebook ads are performing. So you know, if you spent £100, you've had one sale, or you spent £100, you've had 10 sales. Again, it's very different in terms of how successful that campaign is. So this allows you to have visibility on that. And the second reason is so that Facebook itself can learn how to improve the campaign. So if they have no idea, if the system has no idea as to who is responding well based on the objectives that you tell it, and they don't have any of that data, it can't optimize the campaign to improve the performance. So the pixel is essential for both optimizing your campaigns and also tracking the results and being able to see those results for yourselves as the advertiser. So I'm going to talk about the setup of this. Now, in this video, I'm going to talk specifically about setting this up the easy way, which is just using the Facebook Pixel Helper tool. This is what I'd recommend doing if you're completely brand new to Facebook and you just want to get an ad live. You're maybe on a slightly shorter time frame. This video is going to help you set up some initial level of tracking through the Facebook Pixel and the Facebook Pixel Helper. This is not the way that we set up Facebook pixel tracking for our clients, just to be 100% clear, because this only deals with the browser side tracking. So the pixel tracking has two elements to it. It has browser and server. Now, the browser side means that when someone it's essentially a piece of code that's in the header of your site, and when someone takes an action, the code will fire an event, a pixel event, and that reports back to Facebook. Now, if someone is viewing your website and they have pixel tracking, they have ad blockers turned on their browser, or certain browsers do this by default, you will not be able to report accurately on that data. And again, this ties into iOS 14 and the update that restricted certain access for advertisers to be able to track specifically through Facebook. So if someone says no to additional tracking on their iPhone or on their iOS device, you could then not track their actions through the pixel. So things like that, again, are going to cause that data to be less accurate. So essentially just browser side data is a lot less accurate than browser and server. So server side is where the event is being pushed through and it's collecting their email, their name, their IP, their Facebook unique ID and the event ID, and it's pushing all that data back through to Facebook via the server side. So it's a little bit of a different way of setting it up. And what you want is you want both set up, and you want them to be able to deduplicate. So you'd have one event through from the browser, one event through from the server. They both have the same ID, so that when that event comes into Facebook, it can deduplicate it, so it can remove the instance that it does not need and just keep one instance of that, so you don't have double reporting. And then you would have the most accurate picture, because when the browser side event does not fire, you would have the server side, and if for whatever reason the server side event didn't fire, you'd have the browser side. So you'd have both there working in tandem. So that's what I'd recommend, and the next video in this series is going to go in depth on how to set up the browser and server side tracking specifically through Google Tag Manager. That is a much more complex setup. It's going to take a lot longer. So if you're not familiar with Google Tag Manager, you're not at all familiar with anything to do with Facebook, this video, just for completeness, is one I've put together to show you how to set up the more simplified version of Facebook tracking, and it still is going to have some benefit. So again, like I say, this is better than nothing. This is what I would recommend doing if you're completely new. But if you do want to have a more accurate setup long term, I would make sure you watch the next video when I release that, because that is going to teach you how to set it up on both browser and server side. Okay, so to set up your pixel, you first need to actually create the pixel itself. So if you go to business.facebook.com/settings, it will take you here, which is somewhere you should be quite familiar with by now if you've been following along with the videos. Under data sources, you're going to want to click on pixels, and that's going to show you the list of any pixels that you might already have and allow you to create new ones. So you can create a pixel at the business manager level, or you can create it at the ad account level through the events manager. So to do that, you would click on the menu here, you click on events manager, and that's going to take you through to the Facebook events manager essentially. And again, here you can either create one at the you can see your ones at the business manager level, or if you click on that, you'd be able to select the ad account, and then you could manage the pixels and create a new data source via the actual ad account itself. Okay, so for the purpose of this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to business settings, and I'm going to actually set this up at the business manager level. I can then assign it to an ad account specifically, or to multiple ad accounts. So it's almost like just having a pixel that's available in multiple places without having to then share it across after the fact to the other assets that you need. So it's a bit of a cleaner way of setting up, in my opinion, but it really doesn't make too much difference. So you want to go to pixels here, you want to click add. It's going to give you a couple of options. So you're going to want to give the pixel a name. So I'm just going to call this one pixel 2. You can enter your website there if you want to, you don't have to. You're going to click continue. And here it's going to give you options as well. Okay, so your pixel isn't ready to use yet. You can continue managing the business, or you can set up the pixel now. So let's set up the pixel now. And it's going to give us the option to connect the activity to a website, and then you can start to monitor the events. Okay, so you need to install the base pixel code. This is the first piece of the puzzle. This will go on all pages of your site, which will track all activity. And then you can set up the actual events themselves, like a lead, a purchase, an add to cart, using the event setup tool. Or if you're using something like Shopify, it will, you can connect it in a slightly different way, and it'll just automatically push this through for you. But we're looking at the more manual setup. So for example, like a lead form campaign, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so here you can choose how you want to do this. You can email instructions to a developer. You can use a partner integration, for example, like Shopify, Squarespace, WordPress, and others as well there, or you can manually do it. So we're going to do it manually. So I'm going to click that option, and it's going to give you this code. Okay, so all you have to do here is click copy, and now it's copied. So I'm going to move across to a funnel that I've built for demonstration purposes, and I'm going to show you what that's going to look like in terms of installing the pixel now. Okay, so this is a funnel that I have set up. So I've got an opt-in page, I've got a video sales letter, VSL, then I've got a book a call page, and then I've got a thank you page. Okay, so there's multiple steps, and what I want to do in this example is I want to track someone when they opt in, I want to track them when they go to book a call, and then I want to track them when they do actually book that call. Okay, so I want to see who first opts in, then who lands on that book a call page, and then who actually books a call directly from that. And I want that to report back into Facebook. So I don't want to actually add any events necessarily to the opt-in page, because nothing actually happens there. I want it to fire the event when someone becomes a lead, which we'll get to in a second. And then I do want to fire an event when someone gets the book or call page, because I want to be able to tell who's done that. And then I want to assign an event when someone gets to the thank you page, which will indicate that they have booked that call and that kind of whole step, and that system is completed. But before I can do any of that, I need to install that base code that we copied earlier. So for example, in ClickFunnels or in Go High Level, which is what I'm using right here, you can click on settings, you can scroll down, and under header tracking code, you can just paste it in there. Okay, so it's that simple. You just paste it, you click save, done. Okay, and it's now going to be on every single step of this funnel. I'm not going to show you for every single site, it would take too long. I'd recommend you just Google search how to install Facebook Pixel on ClickFunnels, or how to install Facebook Pixel on Webflow, and it will show you exactly how to do that for your specific platform. Essentially, you just need to get to somewhere where you can put it in the header script. You can put it inside the header code of your website. Okay, you just drop that script in there. So that is how you typically do it. I've just demonstrated it here for this one. So the next thing we want to do is we want to test that this is working. So back over here, we're going to click continue just to continue the setup. It's now going to say, do you want to use Facebook's event setup tool? Now, this is, like I said, the easy option, which we're going to do today, because this is going to make sure that we can start setting up different events, like I mentioned, the lead event, the call event, and things of that nature. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're just going to click that button. It's going to ask us to enter the URL of the website, which I'm just going to go and grab now. Okay, so as I mentioned before, I'm going to select the second step in the funnel as the page that I want to track the first event on. So what I want to happen is when someone opts in on this first page over here, so someone's going to, there's a sub headline, there's your logo, maybe some information, you click get started, you enter your details, and you click continue. It's then going to take someone through to the second page, which in this demonstration funnel here is this one. So it's got a video, you've got your logo, your main headline, and again, someone can click to schedule a call. So once they've opted in and actually land on this page, I want to track that as an event. So I'm going to copy that second step of the funnel, that URL there. I'm going to go back to Facebook. I'm going to paste it in, and then I'm going to click open website. Now it's being a little bit slow, but we'll load that in just 1 second. Okay, so that's loaded up now. And then you can see this pixel helper, this event setup tool, is in the top left-hand corner. Okay, so there's a few different options. One is I can set up an event for a button. So I can click track a new button. I can select buttons on the page like this one here, and I can select what event that could be. So maybe that could be a purchase when someone clicks purchase, and I can select different variables. Okay, now I want to choose a different option. I actually want to track the URL, meaning that when someone lands on this page, I want to track an event. So what you're going to do is you're going to click track a URL. you're going to click lead, or in my case, I'm going to click lead because that's what this page represents. And I'm using this event setup tool here to essentially tell Facebook when someone lands on this page, this is the event that I want to occur. Okay, so I want this one to be a lead. So I could choose a value if there's a specific value. I'm actually just going to not include any value in this because it's just a lead event, so it doesn't need one. I'm going to click confirm. You'll see there it's got lead event. Now I could also set up another event for when someone schedules a call if I wanted to, but in this case I don't. So I'm just going to click finish setup. I'm going to click finish, and that is going to set up the event. So now we want to test the events, which will be the next step of this. Okay, so to test the events, you can see here we've got Pixel 2, so we want to test this. We want to click Open Events Manager, and that is going to bring this up in your Events Manager, which is where we can manage all of this stuff. Now, there's a few different ways to test this. One is using the Facebook Pixel Helper Chrome plugin. So this is actually a Chrome extension that you can just get. If you just go to the Chrome store and you type in Facebook Pixel Helper, it will bring that up. And then what essentially that does is if you click on it, it opens up a little window here at the top. So if I click that, it brings it up and it'll actually tell you if a Facebook Pixel is installed on a specific page. So I can go to this page, I can reload it very, very quickly. I can click on the Facebook Pixel Helper and it's going to bring up this to show me that the Pixel is installed, and it even gives you the Pixel ID. So that's really useful actually. That's a great way of knowing whether or not the Pixel is installed. And it'll even tell you what events are installed in some cases. Okay, so it should show that lead event because that's what we set up. It's not showing that right now, so let's test it and see what's happening and see if there's a problem with the setup that we did. So, okay, so to test the Facebook Pixel, you can see it here. What we want to do is we want to click Open in Events Manager, and that's going to bring it up. And then from here, you're going to want to click on Test Events. You're going to want to scroll down and enter the URL there into the test browser events and click Open Website. It's going to open up in a new tab for you. And then if you go back to Events Manager, it's going to start loading in some of the events. Now this can take a minute to do this. As you can see, I reload the page and now you can see it started to pull in the events. Okay, so you can see it's processed a lead event, which is exactly what we wanted. And it's also processed a page view event, which is again, just an event that's standard on all pages. Okay, so it doesn't matter which page you go onto, it's going to test and it's going to bring up the page view, but it's also brought up the lead event, which is exactly what we wanted. So that's great news. And that shows that that is working exactly as we want it essentially. So that's great. We can move on to setting up the next part of the funnel process to start tracking when someone books a call, etc. So as I mentioned before, I want to track when someone just visits this page. Okay, so they're not necessarily booking a call, but I want to track when they actually visit this page. So this is the one where there is the calendar booking. So they're showing intent, but maybe they don't actually book the call for whatever reason. So I, again, want to copy the URL of that page. And what I want to do is I want to go back to the Events Manager and I want to click Add Events, and I want to click From the Pixel. And then I want to click Open Event Setup Tool. And I want to paste in the URL again of the page I want to start tracking the event for. I want to click open, it's going to load it up, and it's going to bring up the Facebook event setup tool over here. And then from here, what you want to do again is you can click track a button, or you can click track a URL, which is what I'm going to use. And you want to choose an appropriate event. So I don't really think that it would be right to choose the contact event because they've not actually contacted us. I can just choose an event that I know is going to represent them taking that specific action. So for example, I could choose initiate checkout. It's something that is fairly broad, and I can then identify that as the correct event. The only thing I would say is, like, for example, if you're putting purchase events on a lead booking form and then you're optimizing for purchases, you're going after the wrong type of people. So you do want to categorize this as accurately as possible. So if you're just using it for internal tracking, you can actually set up a custom conversion event, again, which would be quite useful in this example. Or you can also just use one of the most appropriate events essentially from this. Okay, so we've already got lead. We now want to kind of choose something that again is kind of relevant, but is not them actually submitting the application. So we could choose submit application on the next page. So maybe we could choose contact. Could be quite a good one here for the for this page. So there we go. So now we've got contact on this page because they're interested, and that kind of represents that. Like I say, probably a more appropriate solution to this specific page would be to set up a custom conversion event, which I will be going over in future videos. But for right now, this is fine. Okay. So there we go. So that's a contact event right there. Again, we can test that in a second. While we're here, let's also add another one. So from the Pixel, and again, we want to open the event setup tool, and I want to choose the thank you page. I'm going to enter it in there and click open. So it's just the same process. We're just doing it for each page. And like I say, this could be a button that you map that event to, or it could be a page itself. So again, events on this page, track a URL, and we want to choose for this one, we could do a submit application. Okay. I think there was like a scheduled one as well. So we could have used scheduled as well. So maybe let's change that to schedule. There you go. Perfect. Okay, lovely. So now we can again test some of these events very quickly. So if we go test events, and if we just open this page, there you go. You can see schedule has loaded in nicely there. Okay, so that's perfect. And what was the other page? Let's grab the other page and just test that as well, just for completeness. So that was the contact. So if I copy that one, clear activity, go back to here. There you go, contact. Okay, perfect. So all of our events are set up correctly. There's a couple of other steps which I'm going to dive into, and then we're essentially good to go in terms of that initial pixel tracking. Okay, so there's a couple of other things we need to do before the pixel is set up and ready to go. You can see here all of the events are starting to pull in, which is great. This means we can actually optimize our advert campaigns towards any of these events when the time comes for us to set up the actual adverts themselves. They're all in green, they're tracking events. This is great. So this is exactly as we want it to be, essentially, and you'll see the number of events that start getting tracked through over time when you visit the pages yourselves, or you send them to your friends to test, or you send real traffic there. You'll see those numbers tally up, and again, these are events that we can then track against in the ads manager. Okay, so there's a couple of other things you're going to want to do before you can actually run campaigns, and before you can complete this and tick this off as a step that it's done. So you're going to want to set up the domain verification. So basically, you're not going to be able to optimize your ad campaigns towards your pixel events, and you're going to be able to track things accurately if you don't verify your domain with Facebook. It just basically tells Facebook, look, I own this domain and I'm good to go. And then you can essentially track against those events in that domain. So to do that, you're going to want to go back to your business settings. You're going to want to scroll down to brand safety and then click domains underneath that. And then you're going to want to click add, and you're going to want to click create a new domain. From here, you're going to want to enter your domain. So I'm just going to enter one that I own, which is jacknewman.me. I'm going to click add, and it's going to give me some instructions. So you're going to have a few options on how to verify this. I normally click the update the DNS TXT record with your domain provider. That's normally the one that I do because it's very simple. You can just go into your DNS. You can just add this TXT record, which they provide for you, into your DNS, and you can then verify the domain itself. Alternatively, there's other ways of doing it. You can add a meta tag to your HTML source code, and then you can upload a HTML file to your root directory as well. There's instructions here on how to do this. I'm not going to dive into this too much. It's quite a simple process. This is the one that I use normally. So I just copy this. I go into my domain name provider and I enter the TXT record that they've provided here into the domain name DNS settings. I save it and it will then update, and I click verify domain. So I'm going to show you quickly. I'm going to switch over to a business manager where I verified a domain name, just so you can see that already done. Okay, so this is our UKB Marketing business manager. So a lot of these are going to be grayed out, but you can see this one at the bottom here, UKB Marketing. Once you click that verify button on the previous page, what it'll do once it's verified is you'll get this little verified marker up at the top there, and then you know that this is good to go and you are ready to run campaigns and track against your Facebook pixel using that domain. So once you've done that, it's all good and you can move on to the next step. Okay, so the next step is to set up aggregated events measurement. This is a step where you can then prioritize how Facebook is going to track your events. So that in the instance that someone does not opt in for full tracking and it can't track every single event in the process, Facebook will prioritize one of the 8 events that you set up in order to still report back on your key campaign metrics. So you're going to want to click aggregated events measurement. I'm just doing this on our UKB pixel because it has a little bit more data for all the ones that we use here, rather than that one that I just set up. You're going to want to click configure web events. You can then select the domain name. So obviously a lot of these are going to be grayed out because they're not ours, but this top one I'll just leave open for you to see. This enables you to start prioritizing which events you want to track. So you can click on this. So this will be your domain that you've just verified. You want to click on that domain. You want to click manage events. You want to click edit. From here, you can start adding and removing events. Okay, so I'm just going to remove this one, for example, and add it again. So we do a lot of lead generation campaigns for our own business. So we would select the UKB Marketing pixel. From here, you would select which event. So for example, lead might be the main event that I want to track. Maybe I'd add another event here, and again you would select the same pixel, and again you would select, like, let's say the schedule event. Okay, let's add another one. Again, same pixel and contact. Now, even if one of these is, let's say, a purchase, but you run like a lead campaign as the front end, and then you get purchases right on the back end, you can choose how you prioritize it. Maybe for you, a lead event is actually more important than a purchase event. If you had to track one, which one would be more beneficial for your business? That's kind of the question you want to ask. In most cases, if you're running an e-com store, purchase is going to be the main one you want to track. So you'd have like purchase, maybe initiate checkout, add to cart, view content, and then just leave it there. But essentially, so you'd want to just add in the different events that you can track and you want to prioritize. The top one being the most important, bottom one being the least important. Okay, from there you want to click apply. It's going to give you a summary. You say yes, I confirm these changes, and you take yes, and then you've set up aggregated events measurement. From there, you're pretty much good to go. Okay, so we've set up, in summary, the Facebook pixel. We've installed it on our website. We've verified our domain name. We've used the event setup tool to set up the Facebook events, like for example in this case, lead, contact, submit application, on various different pages, and then we've set up aggregated events measurement as well to tell Facebook how to prioritize those events. So from here, you should be good to go. You can move on to the next step. You can actually start running campaigns to that same site that you've just created with your pixel tracking installed. Like I said, for platforms like Shopify, you can integrate Facebook a little bit differently. You can add it as a partner. You can sign in. It'll do a lot of the work for you. You don't have to actually add manual code, and it will also fire off all of your events like purchase, initiate checkout, add to cart, automatically when someone takes those actions. You don't have to use the event setup tool. In fact, to use the event setup tool would be to duplicate it, and it would actually hurt the result. So if you're using Shopify, things like that, you do not need to do this step. There will be a different specific process to set that up, and I'll just look that up and Google it. I may make videos on it in the future. This is more if you're running like funnels, or if you have a site that's more custom and you need to add some of this stuff in. I thought for completeness I would include this video. The next video will be all about setting up the pixel using Google Tag Manager to set up server and browser side, because this video was more just only about the browser side data using the event setup tool. With that said, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a lot of value from it. Please add any comments below in terms of questions or feedback on this video, and also please like and subscribe. Really helps me out a lot. And if you're keen to work with us as an agency, there's also a link underneath where you can click that button, book in a call with me. We work with companies to generate significant revenue for them or lead generation campaigns for them to grow and scale their business online, and we can have a discussion about how we can help you do that. If you're interested, like I say, click the link below and book in a call with me, and we can go from there. But thanks a lot for watching, and catch you in the next one.